Pursuit of your goal. Take note of signs.
Enemy
along
hero
the way.
missing from top.
I will not deny my destiny.
The visions are unkind to you.
Beware.
You'll be a feast for the vultures.
Invisibility.
Be relentless in pursuit of your goal.
Enemy.
Ei, viado, você tem Discord não? Entra lá que eu quero conversar com você uns assuntos aqui, mano. Umas dúvidas, tá ligado?
Get
Take
back.
note of signs along the way. Be relentless in pursuit of your goal.
I will never hold back.
Be still of mind.
Enemy
not
hero
body.
missing from top.
Fate is sealed.
For my family. Be still of mind, but not of body.
Serial killer.
For my family. Be still of mind, but not of body.
Defend this structure.
Take note of signs.
Hellborn just lost one of their towers.
Double tap.
For my family. Be relentless in pursuit of your goal. Be still of mind, not of body. Take note of signs along the way. Be still of mind, but not of body.
You better keep up.
Take note of signs along the way. I will not deny my destiny.
I am your final destiny.
Be relentless in pursuit of your goal.
Fate is sealed.
Hey guys, what's up? At 60 FPS. But on the chance that you do want to try pushing 1080p, then by all means go for it. Also, one thing I do want to mention is make sure you change your rate control from whatever it's on to CBR. I believe it is the default, but just make sure that you're already there. But anyways, if you do try pushing 1080p, I highly recommend changing your bitrate to somewhere between 4500 and 6000. Just start at the bottom and slowly work your way up until you find what works best for you. But trust me, there's a pretty good chance 1080p will cause your stream to drop a ton of frames if you don't already have a really nice PC and a fantastic upload speed. But before you even finalize doing 1080p, just continue watching the video because in a couple more minutes I'm going to be explaining bitrate in more detail, and I think you guys should stick around for that. But really, my take on it is that 720p will still be providing you with a crispy looking stream, won't cause your PC to slow down, it's going to be a great experience for viewers, and as long as you have a decent internet connection, you should be able to play and stream without any random ping spikes, which is exactly what you want. And trust me, the majority of streamers wouldn't do to 720p if there was that big of a difference between 1080p and 720p. So I'm just going to quickly skip over the bitrate and we'll come back to that in a second. Anyways, I don't really know anyone who uses a custom buffer size, so I always leave that unchecked. But for a keyframe interval, you always want to change this to 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's what most streaming platforms
put a link in the description to the Opus right here, basically, okay? You want to make sure that you're running use CBR, which is constant bitrate. You're going to want to check that box. Go down to your max bitrate here. I run it at 3000, okay? Now, my upload speed, I have a pretty good upload speed, so you're going to want to go to speed test. The recommended, so we're going to go down to broadcast setting, 10 minutes down the road from me. And I switched it to the wouldn't actually be able to keep up with the internet that they have. Thing here, setting this value higher reduces strongest and best computers, and because if you're running these two, or catch me on Twitter at
actually ask you to do too, so just do that to be safe. But anyway, do 720p if there was that big of a difference between 1080p and 720p. So I'm just gonna quickly skip over the bitrate and we'll come back to that in a second. Anyways, I don't really know anyone who uses a custom buffer size, so I always leave that unchecked. But for a keyframe interval, you always want to change this to 2 seconds. I'm pretty sure that's what most streaming platforms actually ask you to do too, so just do that to be safe. But But anyways, moving on from that, we've got the CPU preset. And this part is actually important as it allows you to improve your video quality even more than the bitrate does, especially if you're playing a game with a lot of animation like falling rain, lightning, and things you might find in games like Fortnite, Minecraft, Overwatch, etc. So this step actually depends on how good of a PC you actually have, and most of the time you'll end up experimenting with different settings to find the sweet spot. If you don't know what to use, then just go ahead and start with the default, which I believe is very fast, and move your way closer to the slower side, but each time you bump it up, do a test stream and play something just to make sure that your PC can handle it. But a quick summary of anywhere between very fast stream at 6,000 max. Now you still have to think about your viewers, and not everyone is able to watch streams without buffering at that high of a bitrate. So that's why I even say doing 1080p streams might be nice, but since you'll need a higher bitrate to actually do that, there's a pretty good chance that most of your viewers won't even be able to watch it. I personally think 720p at 60 fps with a bitrate in the range of 2,000 to 3,500 will be plenty in my opinion. I usually just change my bitrate to 3,000. To see what bitrate is actually right for you, head over to speedtest.net and just click the big circle that says streaming on at either 160 or 192. It really doesn't matter. But if I'm recording, then I usually just bump everything else up to 320.
Twitter.com/jglove16. Links in the description below. Hopefully this helps you guys out. Thanks a lot for watching.
box right here for streaming should be green, maybe a little bit yellow in some parts, but that's about it. So let's go over and let's make your stream run as flawlessly as possible. So going back into our settings, your output, as I talked about before, should be at a constant bitrate. You do not want a loss of quality when you can just change your bitrate yourself. Your bitrate, if you are experiencing a large amount of lag, you do want to have a lower bitrate. Some people go with 3000, some people go with 2500, but do not go too low, because some video games are so action-packed that if you have a bitrate too low, it'll actually just make it laggy. So it's kind of not too low, not too high. Once again, just unclick this box, please. This was the main thing that was making me lag, is this custom buffer size. It was making me lag so.
Hey guys, look what I
I am your final destiny. Hi there. Pinky.
Beware.
Bands up for my family. Vision. You better keep up.
Still of mind, but not of body.
Beware.
Be relentless in pursuit of your goal. I will not deny my destiny. Still of mind, but not of body.
For my family.
Beware.
Be relentless in pursuit of your goal. Take note of signs along the way. I will not deny my destiny. I will not deny my destiny.
For my family.
Beware.
I will not deny my destiny. Take note of signs along the way. I will not deny my destiny.
For my family. For my family.
Take note of signs along the way.